All right, hey everybody, my name's Corey, aka Pops, and today I figured I'd make a video quick and talk to you about what I've discovered about starting a small backyard nursery so far. Probably the biggest thing, and the thing that I can imagine probably makes most people quit right from the beginning, is figuring out that this doesn't happen year one. Now, a lot of the small ventures and businesses I've been involved in and have started up over the years, you kind of kick it off and you start making money pretty quickly. They're pretty fast turnaround businesses. This one is a lot different. This one takes a lot more foresight, a lot more planning, and it's not something you just jump into and start making money. Not even remotely. So one, we don't have anything to sell. And two, it takes sometimes 2, 3, 4 years to make the things that you want to sell. Not in every case, but I'm finding out in a lot of the things I had in my mind that we were going to sell, it's going to take a minimum of a year, if not 2 to 3. So this year we've kind of reeled everything back and we've decided we're going to start gathering the things and propagating the things and putting everything in place to where we can start with our first real plant sale. We could start doing kind of more of a backyard nursery starting next year. This year is going to be more about just getting things prepped and getting things ready and getting our plants so we can sell. Now, if you watched our previous video, we have sold some daylilies. We've done really good on those. We've sold close to $200 worth of daylilies so far, and we probably still have another 100 that we need to dig up and divide up and pot up for sale. We simply shut the ad off on Facebook. Well, it's not an ad. We just made a post on Facebook. We marked it as sold and stopped it because we ran out of plants. They sold within 12 hours. So now we can kind of start getting some other plants ready. We could pot up the rest of our daylilies. And we've bought, let's see, we've got some rhododendron here that we're going to plant so we can use it for next year. We've got blueberries. We've got a couple different kinds of limelight hydrangeas. We've got an arborvitae, however you say that name. We've propagated some weeping willow trees. We've got these, plus we've got 100 saplings stuck in the ground. We'll see how many survive for next year and the year after. We might be able to start selling some of those. And we've got some forsythia bush. That's about it so far. We do have weeping willow and dogwood on the property. We will probably start propagating those, and towards the end of the summer, June, July, we should be able to start propagating and taking cuttings off a lot of these too. So that's what this spring and summer is going to be all about, is just getting as much stuff and stock ready as we can to hopefully be able to sell mid-spring next year and get a good start, and then just get the property and stuff in order, get the stuff set up the way we want it to be before people actually start showing up so we can have some plant sales next year. One of those things that we need to do today is actually get some potting soil mixed. If we're gonna go plant these and we're gonna dig up some more daylilies, we actually need some good potting soil to do that. And we're gonna mix some up today and we'll show you what's in that. So let's go ahead and go do that next. All right, so probably the biggest thing we're finding out we need, and we need a lot of, is potting soil. And we don't have, I got the tractor, I could just go dig up a bunch of dirt around here, but I don't think it's gonna work for a lot of what we want. We need it to be a little bit more well draining, and we need to have some potting soil that's not already full of dandelions and weeds and seeds and stuff that are going to start sprouting up out of it. So we're going to mix our own. We've decided to go with kind of a mixture of peat moss, garden soil, play sand, and some perlite. We actually couldn't find perlite in the stores around here. I could order some, but we decided to try out something they did have on hand, which was vermiculite. A little bit different, but it should accomplish the same thing, I'm hoping. So we're going to mix some up. I'll kind of show you what we do with that. All right. So the first thing is just an all-purpose play sand you could buy from any big box store, or Lewis or Menards or Home Depot or Lowe's. We mix 1 bag of that in. And of course, I don't have a pocket knife today. All right, so we got 1 bag of sand. And then we bought this. We bought this peat moss, and it is a 3.8 cubic foot bale of peat moss. It just cost a few bucks at the big box store. I think we got it at a Runnings here locally. We've cut this in half. This is our second load, so I mix half of this 3.8 cubic foot bale with 1 bag of the sand and 1 bag of the topsoil. So I'll dump this in here. Now this is really dry and really dusty. All right, so I'm gonna mix that up a little bit. Try not to eat too much of it. Just bring some of that sand up in it. And that sand will just help water drain through this so it isn't just sitting in the pots and rotting your roots. And then we got a bag of just black dirt garden soil. We're gonna dump a bag of this in there. And this is our second load. So we've got this Pro Mix vermiculite. It's a small bag here, 8-quart, 2-pound bag. We've already used half of this bag in the first round of mixing this up. So we're gonna use the other half a bag in this one. I'll just mix it all up. All right, and then there's one more thing I like to throw in here just to give it a little bit of nutrient, a little bit of nitrogen. We have a compost pile over by our chicken coop. It's just wood chips, pine wood chips, and chicken manure. And it's been composting for about 3 years, so most of it is just dirt at this point, but it's really high in nitrogen. So I like to grab one small shovel scoop of that and throw it in with this mixture just to give it a little bit of something to get them kick-started and going. It's kind of like a fertilizer for them. All right, so we got a scoop of chicken manure here. Well, fertilizer, compost. Spread it around in there and then mix it in. Now, even though that's compost, I want to make sure it's mixed in really good. That way nothing goes directly on the roots. If it's too high in nitrogen, we're not burning roots off. Now, I also want to say, first year doing this, I have no idea if this is correct. This is kind of what I found on YouTube. And I don't know if it's good or bad. Putting that extra compost in there could be a horrible, tragic mistake. We'll find out. But I think it'll be all right. Seems like something plants would like. So we're going to go with our gut on it. And we're just going to make sure it's mixed in good. And we are kind of mixing this in a livestock water tank. It's Rubbermaid, and the reason we're doing it in this one is a 100-gallon one. We could get away with mixing in the small ones, but this one actually has a drain plug in the bottom. So we pulled the drain plug. If water gets in it, it's just going to drain through. It's not going to sit in there. So we shouldn't have to worry about mold and all that stuff. So that's about it. Now that this is mixed up, we're ready to start potting stuff up. We could dig up the rest of our daylilies, get them potted, and I'll also use this kind of as a filler and a base around any new trees or shrubs we plant to make sure they got plenty of room in some loose, nice soil to kind of root out for this summer and this growing season, so we can start propagating later in the fall. So I'm just going to cover this for now. And then we can go get rid of all of our garbage. All right, guys, one of the things we said we were going to do is get cleaned up for this year and get things ready for next year. And part of that, I think, is going to be to reclaim this building. We put it here about 3 years ago. We haven't used it for much. We used it early on for brooding new chickens, just for getting new hatchlings in, keeping them nice and comfortable, and getting them to a point where we could put them in the actual chicken coop. But now that we don't have any baby chickens, it's largely unused other than a little bit of storage. So I think what we're probably going to do is try to turn this into kind of our potting shed and our customer center type shed. When people come in to buy plants, they'll come in here to pay type of thing. So we're going to create a path and a bit of a garden way here that brings people right up to this when they're buying plants for next year, or at least that's what we're hoping to do. So I'll kind of show you inside and see what it looks like. All right. You can kind of see we've got it split up into these little chicken areas. We've got 4 cages, 2 bigger cages and 2 smaller cages. And same thing on the other side. 2 big cages, 2 small cages. And I think this is about well, let's see, it's 12 by 20, I believe, is the entire size of the shed. So I think probably what we will do is we'll go ahead and take all of these caged areas out. We'll just unscrew all the wood and get them out of here. And then once we do, we could put some benches up and we could use it for a potting area, and we'll set up a little concession type area with some electricity and power, and we'll set up a little register to take credit cards and things like that. Probably mostly just off the phone. We already have like the square readers and all that stuff we need in a little iPad. So it's just a matter of bringing some out here when we need it. But we'll set up a little desk area where people could put their plants. So that's kind of the idea. You guys will have to let me know what you think of this. Hopefully it will make kind of a nice little area for people to come into. We do intend to tear this old garden area out. I think I showed you this in one of the other videos. All of this has got to go. So we'll tear that out and we'll decide how we're going to use that. We do have a big 16 by 20 pergola, an aluminum pergola, that we're going to put somewhere out here in this yard area too. So we'll see how that goes. And then last but not least, I have this old dog kennel that we used to use at a different property. And it makes a nice 12 by 12 dog kennel when it's all put together. And I think some shade cloth on top of that would make a nice little grow area. So we may get that up too. All right, so I think that's about it. That's our big update so far. We have a lot of work to do. It looks like way more work than what I thought it would be. So first year of the nursery, not exactly the big boom we thought, but we probably will end up making $400 or $500 off the daylilies. And we may still get to a point where we can sell off some of the weeping willows if they root out and they grow a little over this summer. Maybe sell them out close to fall. But I really don't know if that's going to work out or not. We'll find out. But in the meantime, we're going to keep getting stuff ready so that probably June, July, we could start propagating like crazy and have a good stock for next year. And we may actually set up and try to do some wholesale next year too. We weren't ready for it this year, so we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.